all of our lives are revolving around mainly two aspects. It is about desire and fulfillment.
Hanish Undramatla, he's the director for Aditya English Medium School. He's a transformational speaker and an author. He has written a book called as Sciences of Improving Yourself Greatly. He has written about science of the mind, science of the thoughts, science of belief systems, science of the heart, and so many. Why people call you as a transformational speaker and not as a motivational speaker?
Motivation is short term, but when you are transformed, you don't need to depend on motivation. You don't wait for motivation to do something.
He has been regularly speaking for different engagements. So how can we get rid of unwanted belief systems or the belief systems which are not helping us move forward?
To break this belief system, you need a lot of willpower, but the problem with willpower is it is very limited. So before understanding your beliefs, first you need to understand the strength of the power of the belief that is having. So let us talk about the power of
Join me in welcoming Hanish Undramatla only on PMC English.
My soul namaskars to everyone. Welcome to PMC English. I'm your Pradeep Anirudh. My dear friends, he's the director for Aditya English Medium School. He's a transformational speaker and an author. He has written a book called as Sciences of Improving Yourself Greatly and written about science of the mind, science of the thoughts, science of belief systems, science of the heart, science of the brain, and so many. He has been regularly speaking for different engagements. He is none other than Hanish Undramatla. So let's welcome him. Welcome to the studio, Hanish.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm also so very happy to have you here. Hanish, my first question for you, why people call you as a transformational speaker and not as a motivational speaker?
I need to tell you the difference between motivation and transformation. Basically, every man or woman needs some kind of motivation to do anything. And when they lose this motivation, they look up for motivation, and motivation is short term and it will be like for a short period of time. So I get motivated for now. I saw a great video, I'm motivated and I feel great, I'll do, and it will go down over a period of time. But when you are transformed, you don't need to depend on motivation. You don't wait for motivation to do something. So that is what is transformation. So when you hear about stories of someone who is very successful and all, you feel motivated, but you are not transformed. But transformation is when you actually feel the change inside you and you don't need any external support or motivation to do whatever you want. That is when it comes motivation. So typically I used to listen to a lot of motivational speakers and I used to feel the same. I used to get a little bit pumped up with my energy to do something. But again, that doesn't last for a long time. Again, I need motivation. Or after 1 week, I need to see some more motivational speakers video to go forward. So it's like, it gets something that gets drained over a period of time. That is a very common thing. But hooking up for motivation and over a period of time, you will feel so bored that you will stop even watching motivational videos. That's typically happened to me and everyone also. And then you will think about what is happening. You will feel completely lost. So when transformation happens, when you typically change your entire view, the change happens from the inside, then obviously you will not need any motivation. You don't feel motivated. You can see many people, if you see the people who are very successful or who are doing great work, they don't need motivation. The main reason is they are having this intrinsically they are having it from inside. So when you have something from the inside, when you have that change inside, then automatically you will also don't need motivation. So that is the reason whatever I speak, I don't speak about motivation. I don't motivate people. But whatever I speak, with whatever I say, with the information I share, if people get transformation, if people have, people will go through a mode of transformation. So then I think that is more important. That's why people call me, or I call myself, as a transformational speaker rather than a motivational speaker.
Wonderful, Harish.
Yeah.
So transformation is more continuous.
Right.
So it is more persistent.
Correct.
And motivation is temporary,
Right.
as we understand.
Yes.
Wonderful. And you also have written about thoughts. For a human being, thought is a very basic expression of himself or herself. What is the source of thoughts?
Basically, if you will start with thoughts, we'll start with the mind. So when we talk about the mind, first we need to talk about the science. So if you understand science, or if we're talking about science, for me, I was in the scientific dogma, I will say, that science is everything, science understands everything. I thought it was the same. So that's why I used to believe only in science. But later I understood that science is very limited, and science cannot explain anything, many things that that are not in the mainstream. For example, some meditative experience from a mind cannot be explained by science. So the thoughts that I am generating, why I am generating, science cannot explain. So science is actually limited, because there is many things that science cannot explain. So even our society, also our education system, everything relies on our science. Typically talking about the thoughts which generate from our mind, there are two ways actually that generates our thoughts. How we generate our thoughts. One is, we consciously, with our conscious mind, we think about something. That's the conscious thoughts we think about. And we have subconscious thoughts that we don't actually try to think, but they come to us. So our life is a bridge between those thoughts originating from the conscious mind and the thoughts originating from the subconscious mind. So the conscious mind is very limited mind. Typically I understood that conscious mind is only 5 to 10%, and 95% is our subconscious mind that is actually moving our life. So from then I try to understand more deeply about how thoughts influence things, how we create our own reality. That's what I learned when I came into the meditation. But though I understood the word we create our own reality, I couldn't explore it much. I could not decode it. I understand, yes, we create our own reality, but how? That is the more important in today. Today is not learning things, but learning how. Not learning that you create your own reality, but how you create your reality. So the basic form is the thought. So not only that basic form, thoughts combined with our feelings, our emotions, all these things will create our reality. So its basic thing is thought. Everywhere the thought is the basic form which actually originates, and it leads to many other things. So yeah, typically if you are talking about the mind and the thoughts are the basic form of anything. If you change your thoughts, if you are able to change your thoughts, you can change your reality. That's what it is.
Wonderful. You have touched upon a very good aspect, that the reality is getting created by one's own thoughts. Right. So how to master these thoughts? Because typically a person gets 60,000 thoughts. Right. And if one wants to have a happy reality, if one wants to have a joyful reality, if one wants to have a reality of health, so I understand that it is the moderation or mastery of thoughts that is needed. So how is it possible, or is it really possible?
It is really possible, basically, because if you understand man's life, okay, all of our lives are revolving around mainly two aspects, or three I can say. It is about desire and fulfillment. We have, every day we have certain set of desires, and we work towards fulfilling them, and we derive the pleasure from the fulfillment. That is how all the people in the world will have their life as. Desires coming to them, and they work for the fulfillment, and the pleasure derived from this fulfillment is what you were talking about, the joyful life. The pleasure which they derive from this fulfillment is what the joyful life the happy life, right? So when this desired state is unfulfilled, okay, so then the pleasure is not derived, and obviously people will they go into a miserable state or mediocre kind of life. That is what it is happening now. So if you understand, this is the basics. I'm not talking about deep science or anything. Just the basics is, every day you work on your desires. You have a certain set of desires with respect to your body, with respect to your mind, with respect to your heart, with respect to your spirit. So typically people work on these desires. So when the desire is fulfilled, you gain pleasure and you feel joyful. When your desire is not fulfilled, you don't feel the pleasure, you feel the pain or suffering, and you go into a mediocre mindset. Okay, that is how it happens. So if you go to the desires, so we have to start with the basic desires. How the desire is originating to you, because you and me will not get the same desire. Each and everyone has their own set of desires. So how it comes to us?
Yes, that is a good question
Yeah.
to be asked.
Yes. So for every man's desires are coming in two ways. Okay. Typically, on the outside, everyone thinks that the desires originates only from the mind, of the conscious mind, the mind that is conditioned by the society, by the education system, by the family, from the environment. So desires originate from all these conditioning that happened in our mind, which actually influence our conscious mind to generate a desire. So when the desire generates because of this, then all your thoughts are almost aligned to this desire. If I go below the thoughts, if I'm talking about thought is the origin, but if I go below the thought, what is the origin of this thought is the desire. So these desires are typically because what you see in the outer environment, what you perceive about the world, what you think about society, how you want to be in the society, how the world conditioned you to be something, or how you perceive success about yourself or your family. So these things will actually give rise to the desires. So based on these desires, you generate the thoughts. If you are working mostly on the every day, if you don't have any desire, you won't do anything basically. If you are desire free, if you are like a hermit, you won't do anything. You just sit like that, no desires. Yes or no?
Right. Yeah.
Only because I have desires, so I generate lot of thoughts, and most of my thoughts are aligned to the fulfillment of this desire. So what should I do? How to do? When to do? All these thoughts of how, what, when, and all these thoughts are generated from my desire. So when my desire is, when I'm having more desires, there are more number of thoughts that are coming to me. So because all your thoughts are what you want to do, right? What you want to be, what you want to think, like what you want to do. All these are thoughts. If you observe your thoughts, the first thing is you getting an awareness of your own thoughts. What are my thoughts? Kind of delusion we have is we think we are the mind. That is one of the major delusion. Okay. For example, I have a hand. It doesn't mean I am the hand, because I am saying I have a hand. So I know somehow subconsciously that I and my hand are different. Because I am telling you I am having hand, then who is I? I have a body, I have a mind. So me and my mind are different. So when you to understand your thoughts, you need to think about that you are different from your mind. So when you know that you are different from your mind, then you will start analyzing what you are thinking. When you separate yourself from the mind, so then you will understand what thoughts are generated by the mind, by your mind on a daily basis. So once you get that awareness, okay, I'm having this set of thoughts on a repetitive state. So then you need to go back. So why I am generating these thoughts? From where it is coming? And if you go back, then you will understand the desires that you have in your subconscious mind and your conscious mind, what kind of desires I am having. So these desires will actually give rise to the most of the thoughts for us, because our life is based on, as I said, desire, fulfillment and pleasure. Desire, unfulfillment, pain or suffering. So if you see the reality of everyone, this is how it is. Why you are doing what you are doing? It is because of some kind of desire you have inside. It can be anything. It can be, when you said health, my desire of having a great health will actually make me give rise to certain thoughts. So based on these thoughts, I take some decisions. I take actions based on the thoughts, right? So the desires, the thoughts and the decisions, the choices I make, and the choices give rise to actions. And when you take an action, and it's an experience basically. So this experience give you some kind of emotions and feelings, and you, based on this, again you will generate your thoughts. It's like a circle kind of thing. So for example, let us take a simple example, let's not complicate it much. Let's take health. So I want to be healthy, it's a desire that I want to be healthy, for example. So based on my desire, I have certain set of thoughts on a day-to-day basis of what I'm thinking, what should I eat, what should I do. So based on, for example, only for the body we are talking about. So when you have these thoughts in your mind, obviously based on these thoughts, you will have certain choices, what to eat, what not to eat, what to do, what not to do with respect to your body, right? So based on these choices, you eat something and you won't eat something, which is an action actually, your choice, an action based on your choice. And after this action, it's an experience, it gives you an experience. So this experience generates a feeling and kind of an emotion that will be stored in your brain, and based on this again you will be generating thoughts. So this is how our reality works. Now you, when I say you create your own reality, it's not just only about the thoughts. It's the thoughts which gives rise to our choices, our decisions, our actions combined with an experiences, and these experiences will give rise to our emotions and feelings and feedback for ourselves, and based on that we'll be generating more and more thoughts.
Again.
That is how it actually completely is.
Wonderful. You have beautifully explained the cycle of how thoughts will get generated and regenerated. And what is the role of belief systems in the generation of thoughts?
Yeah, I think I missed it here, because belief system is another branch through which, as I said, desires generate thoughts, and based on these thoughts there is a background of belief system that you have, on which you compare your thought based on your truth. Your truth is nothing but your belief system. Okay, so for example, in simple terms I will tell you, like, I need to drink a smoothie to be healthy. My desire to be healthy will give rise to a thought that I need to eat or drink healthy, for example. And there is a belief system also inside me which tells me that if I drink this smoothie, it's good. Or my belief system is, even though if I don't drink smoothie, I will be healthy. So these are called the truth of me. My truth is different from your truth. So my truth is, even though I don't drink smoothie, even though I don't do whatever that is required for being healthy, but still I will be healthy. So this belief system will be interacting with our thoughts, and these two things combined will give rise to your choice. Okay, should I really drink smoothie every day, or it's okay if I drink a Coke also? It's based on the belief system. You have a desire of health, but your belief system is actually contradicting it and making you make a choice that is not in align with your desire. So the truth of you is the belief system, and this belief system is formed mostly from our 0 to 7 or 8 years of age. Most of our belief systems forms in this age period. The belief system, people like Dr. Bruce Lipton, all these people, they call it as a program. The belief system, they call itself as a program that actually runs our life. So what is this belief system is, I create my own belief system based on what I hear from the outer world, from my parents, from my society, from my neighbors, from my family members, from my education system, from the TV, from the news, from the media. Whatever I see, whatever I perceive, then I create a truth for myself, which forms as a belief system for me. So based on this belief system, you actually run your life. So your thoughts are there, but if your belief system is more strong than your thoughts, then you work towards your belief system, but not actually your thoughts. That is the reason everyone knows that they need to do something to be healthy, for example. Okay.
But they don't do it.
They don't do it.
Yeah.
Why they don't do it is, consciously they try, but subconsciously this belief system is so strong that in 0 to 7 they were never trying to be healthy or do something to be healthy. So typically they don't need to do anything, they don't feel like doing anything. Consciously some people break that belief system through a lot of willpower, and they will do maybe going every day, they try to form the habits of going to a gym or eating healthy, whatever it is. So for that, yes, to break this belief system you need a lot of willpower, but the problem with willpower is it is very limited. I will tell you one scientific experiment based on why willpower is limited. So typically they did one experiment where people were asked to come hungry, and people were divided into two groups. So one group is given typically some kind of chocolates, some kind of junk food, which people normally love to eat, whatever it is. And on the other set of people, they gave just roasted vegetables and raw vegetables. Both of this set of people are hungry, and they were given all the dishes, but one set of people were told that you can eat whatever you want. Another set of people were told to eat only the raw vegetables or roasted vegetables, only that. So now, once they finished their eating, after some time, they gave them another task of solving a puzzle. Okay, and if you observe the pattern of people who are able to use their willpower to solve the puzzle, the people who ate this chocolates or the desired food, they were able to stand more time in solving the puzzle. On the other hand, the people who have used their willpower extensively to eat the raw food were the people who are not able to use the willpower to complete the puzzle. So there are multiple experiments like this. This is one such experiment which shows that people's willpower is limited, because if you observe this two batch of people, the one set of people have used their willpower, they are hungry, they don't want to eat raw vegetables, they don't desire it, but they were made to eat. So for that you are using your willpower, right? You don't want to do it, but if you are doing it, you are using your willpower. A lot of willpower is needed to do certain things which you don't want to do. So when they did that, the willpower got burnt out. So when they were doing the next experiment, which is about solving the puzzles, which also needs a lot of willpower, this experiment is repeated almost like multiple times for multiple number of people. Everything, the result is same, because these people have used the willpower initially, and they have used it so much that they are unable to use that willpower in the next part of their work. For example, completing the puzzle. All the people who ate junk food or whatever they like, there is no use of willpower when you eat whatever you like. So these people were able to use the willpower to complete the puzzles for a long period of time. But these people who use their willpower to eat only specific food which they don't like, they could not use their stand much of the time. They said, I can't do it, that's it, I don't feel like doing it. So that shows that our willpower is limited. So it is very important how we use our willpower. So, yeah, now as I said, coming back to the belief systems. So, our beliefs are nothing but our conditioned mind with respect to our environment, the society, family, education system, and all this forms certain set of beliefs. Now, these beliefs actually create our reality. From our thoughts, our beliefs, our choices arise and our decisions, and we take actions and we gain experiences, which actually gives rise to some kind of feelings and emotions, and also forms new belief systems. Again, you have certain desires and these belief systems which actually give rise to certain thoughts and choices. So that's how
The cycle is
the cycle is work.
going.
Yeah. So, and if you want to talk completely about the belief system is so powerful. So anyone can change their thoughts easily, but changing the belief system is very difficult because it's like a program that is running from your subconscious mind. Anything that arises from the conscious mind, you may change it easily, but things that are arising from your subconscious mind without your preference, you are doing something, but you, after doing it, you feel like, why did I do that? Everyone have that, right? You might have some experience like, why did I do this? I shouldn't have done that. Where it is coming from? It is not coming from the conscious mind. It is coming from the subconscious mind. The belief systems, the program that you are running inside your head is giving rise to certain things that you are doing, which you feel over a period of time, why did I do like this? I shouldn't have done that. Many people feel it. It is because they are not doing it consciously. Subconsciously something is there that is actually pushing them to do this. That is why people think many times, why did I do like this? I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have messaged him like that. But at the time of messaging, you won't think much. But after messaging, you will realize or you will feel that, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. If you had ever thought like that, it is because the subconscious program is actually guiding you towards doing certain things. So changing your conscious thoughts is easy, but changing your subconscious thoughts and the belief systems is not easy. Changing the program is not easy.